The historic James E. Pepper Distillery, located in the Distillery District in downtown Lexington, Kentucky. Initially built in 1880 by Colonel James E. Pepper, one of the founding fathers of the bourbon industry, the distillery operated until 1967, when it was shut down and abandoned for over 50 years. After a decade of historical research, the brand was relaunched and the distillery was rebuilt. Distilling recommenced on site in December 2017 using the same historic bourbon recipe as when it shut down in 1967. Located on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, the distillery is proud to offer a selection of fine whiskeys along with tastings and tours of the working facility.
With Liquor Barn, you can shop your favorite bourbon, that perfect bottle of wine, or discover something new. To place an order for pickup or delivery, download the Liquor Barn app, visit liquorbarn.com, or call your nearest Liquor Barn location. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our email list for all the latest news on products, promotions, and events. Liquor Barn, where Kentuckians go to celebrate life. Cheers!
Welcome to the Bourbon Life Podcast, your source for all things bourbon. Join your hosts, Mark and Matt, as they drink and review bourbons, share news about upcoming events, interview the who's who in the bourbon world, and, most importantly, bring you along for the fun of living the bourbon life. Now, here's your hosts, Mark and Matt.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, The Grizz, and with me tonight, live in the Bourbon Life... I'm your host, Mark, and with me tonight, live in the Bourbon Life Studios, it's the Bourbon Life Crew. We're around the flights of the round table, and everybody's having a good time already. And with me tonight, we've got Matt. Matt, how you doing, man?
Hey, Mark, I'm doing great. It's always great to be back here in the Bourbon Life Studios because it really feels like it has been...
It has been.
Forever.
Three weeks.
3 weeks. Good Lord.
So it's been a month because we did three shows on the road. It's been a long time.
A lot's changed since then. I'm wearing pants again.
There's no piano.
Thank you for wearing pants this time.
I was going to text everybody else today and ask what the over-under was for Matt wearing a toboggan tonight because I just knew that since the temperature was in the 40s today that you would have a toboggan on tonight, and you showed up without one because I was going to put money on it. I was going to put money.
Oh, well, I'm glad I didn't bust your bracket.
Well, it's because he wore pants. So
he did wear pants.
Yeah.
The extra leg coverage, compensates for that.
Yes.
And the slippers.
Yeah, and the slippers are here. Yeah.
Well, my hair is wet anyway. But
we also have Stacy.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. I didn't bring my bear repellent, so don't get too close.
I'll crush your skull. You know what they say.
Oh,
Anywho, yeah, Chad's with us too. Chad, what's going on, man?
Not much. Just happy to not be getting off work for once coming over here.
I know, man. You're all casual. You're looking like you had a day of just relaxation, man. You're not all stressed out and dressed up and everything else.
I did barely any cleaning, played with the dog, and just sat around the house. It was nice. Yeah.
And you just got back from vacation, right?
I did. We went to Seattle for a week, and that is amazing out there.
Chaz, that's what the place is called. Chaz in downtown. Do you guys remember that when the rioters formed their own not community, like their own separate state in downtown Seattle, and they set up their barriers and they named it Chaz.
It's close to Chad, so
which
we'll
is
take
close
it.
to Chad because yeah. So he didn't go. Chad did not visit Chaz.
I did not. I don't even know what you're talking about still, but I've also not looked it up. So hopefully on our next trip, maybe whenever we can walk around.
It's gone now. They got rid of Chaz. The rioters all left, and Chaz, I guess, gave up its sovereignty, and everybody returned to wherever they came from.
Those guys are wimps, man. You can't start your own sovereign area and then be like, fuck it.
And they're like, we're out of here, man.
Takes too much work, I would assume.
I think it would. I mean, and then you're going to have to be this structured organization, which is what the whole content, it was about not being structured and going against the structured environment as it existed. And then you're going to have to set up a structure to
be unstructured.
We don't want no one to lead us. It's all gone to hell. We should elect someone to lead us.
Exactly right. I mean, that's kind of the way it goes. Anyway, so I'm glad you had a good time. You had some fun out there.
I did.
You got to pick a barrel, I believe.
I did. I picked a barrel of Woodinville, which will be out January-ish.
Available at Total Wine in January of 2023.
I was going to mention it because you got to sponsor his competitor, but
that's okay. it's quite all right. It's quite all right, man. It's no problem to mention that. So that'll be exciting though when it comes out. So, all right, guys, what do we got? We got some stuff poured up. Everybody brought bottles, which is so much fun. I wish we could just sit here and drink them all for the show. We can sit here after the show and drink through quite a bit of them. But the first thing we got, this was the one that, all right, this is the Michters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Matt, you want to talk about that? You have the info sheet over there.
Yeah, I do. I've got the press release right in front of me here. So on our first round, we are drinking the second release of the US1 Toasted Barrel Sour Mash Whiskey from Michter's. So just read a little bit through on the press release that they've sent us along with this bottle. And to make this special toasted release, Michter starts with fully matured barrels of its US1 Sour Mash Whiskey. The heart of this toasted product is a wonderful whiskey that begins on the palate like a sweet and delicious bourbon and then has a rye-like spice on the finish, said Michter's master distiller Dan McKee. Michter's US1 Sour Mash is then transferred into specially toasted barrels for additional aging. The precise toast profile of the second barrel is artfully selected by Michter's master of maturation, Andrea Wilson. About her toast selection, Wilson observed, the 2022 Sour Mash release takes the Sour Mash expression and enhances it by adding notes of smoked honey and ginger snap cookies accentuated by toasted oak, all while honoring the sweet and spicy balance of our US1 Sour Mash whiskey.
Huh.
So this is the second release. The first release came out in, 2019?
I think it was
2019,
right?
2019. So this
Yeah.
is the 2022 release of the Michter's Toasted Sour Mash Whiskey.
So they skipped a couple years and then jumped back in with this one. So we do have the 2019 as well. We're not going to taste it for this show, but I broke it
Let's
out.
say, speak for yourself. I think I'm going to have a taste.
I was going to say, I broke it out because Chad said he loved it. So I broke out the bottle that I had here. So definitely some pours of that will be had as well. So
Ciao.
yeah, man. So thanks for that. Very descriptive. Now we don't even have to nose it or taste it or anything because
That's
you've
right.
already
They tell you what
you've already
what it
gone through.
tastes like.
we
Right
don't
there.
have to worry about it.
Takes
Now-
all the fun out.
Yeah.
Move on to the next thing.
That's
All
right.
that was
On to round
Michter's
two.
Toasted
All
Sour
right.
Mash. Yep.
Yeah. Well, Dan's a good guy. We saw Dan at the Bourbon Festival, so it was fun to see him. And I think Andrea Wilson, didn't she just get
She just got
inducted
inducted into the
to
Hall
the
of Fame.
Bourbon Hall of Fame?
She was there also.
Okay.
One day.
See, I've never met her. We had Dan on the show, so we talked to him. Of course, it was virtual, so or online. But of course, I don't really know what Andrea. I guess I know what she looks like, but I don't think I would know her as well as recognizing Dan.
Right.
She's a woman. She's got hair.
She has glasses.
She wears glasses.
Okay,
So
well, there you go. Well,
Woman with hair and glasses. That narrows it down, guys.
at the Bardstown Bourbon Festival, that narrowed it down.
Yep.
Out of the 10,000 people there, yeah. Anyway, Matt, you been nosing this yet? You have not been.
No, let me.
Gosh, you're too busy reading.
I was
so.
too busy reading.
Stacy, I'm going to start with you because you're nosing over the nosing.
Well,
you're
you
sniffing
know,
it.
Mark, I do get some ginger snap and honey on
you?
this. No, I do get a little bit of honey though. Seriously,
Okay.
I'm also getting like peach cobbler notes.
Oh,
That's what's coming through to me.
nice. Chad, what about you?
I'm getting a lot of like fried dough and just powdered sugar. So I mean, it's very like
Desserty.
I can't think of what those are called. Like when you go to the fair, what is that?
A funnel
Funnel
cake.
cake.
Funnel
cake.
cake. Yeah.
Elephant ear. We call it elephant ear.
That's I didn't know if anyone knew what elephant ear was.
Yeah.
And
yeah, funnel cake, elephant ear.
yeah. So yeah, elephant ear.
Which tastes exactly to me like a beignet. So I used to drive my ex-mother-in-law nuts because she went to New Orleans and she got hooked on beignets and she was making them at home. And I tasted it one day and I was just like, oh, this is like an elephant ear. So it pissed her off because, I kind of knocked it down a few notches to the redneck
I mean, it
level.
essentially is the same thing.
It is. I mean,
Fried dough,
it's fried
powdered
dough.
I had
Powdered
this
sugar.
at the fair.
Exactly right. Exactly.
Mama, you don't make it as well as the booth C3 at
That's
the state fair.
I mean, I grew up in Eastern Kentucky, if you didn't know that, so I went to a lot of
I had no idea.
fairs over there.
Oh, so that's like
fairs.
a nice restaurant. And
It is. I mean, if you get elephant ears, that is a fine dessert.
Yeah.
It's lots of extra powdered sugar.
Whenever your parent says, "Kids, we're going out to eat," you're going to the fair. So
Yeah, that's right.
so wait, did you like the right ear or left ear guy?
He looks like a left ear guy to me.
You're a lefty?
I'm a left ear guy.
Okay, yeah, I was a left ear guy too.
Yeah.
they
there
say
you
it's
go.
like someone else doing it.
Yeah, fried dough. God. So fried dough. Yeah. So let's go back to the fried dough, the elephant ears, geez, oh Pete. Anything else you pick up on that, Chad?
Nope.
Some left ear tendencies, yeah.
Well, as the Grizz, I prefer the right ear.
Jeez.
Anyway,
Anyway.
Matt, what about you, man?
I'm actually picking up a lot more fruit than I expected.
Okay.
Get like a strong nose of like sour strawberries,
Okay.
like a tart strawberry pie type aroma.
Okay. Like a fried strawberry pie or like
No, I wouldn't say
just
like
a
a
strawberry
fried.
pie. So it's not a fried pie.
No fried pie.
Not like a McDonald's.
No,
Hot lava.
Not like a turnover.
Not a turnover.
Those are
I gotcha.
baked.
What?
Yeah, McDonald's pies are baked.
The old ones were fried, weren't they?
I'm sure at some point in time they were fried.
Back when it was like hot molten lava when you bit into it.
But
No, I think you're thinking of mozzarella sticks.
Very easy to get confused.
yeah, very easy to get confused.
Those are like the most deceiving things in the world because you can handle them straight out of the fryer and like, oh, this isn't going to be that hot.
Yeah.
You bite into it and it's like, oh, good Lord.
Yeah,
Like a pizza roll.
encapsulated
Yeah.
grease.
And then the cheese just starts like rolling down your throat. You're kind of like choking on it. It's so hot.
and then at your funeral they're like, he died doing what he loved.
That's
you
right.
know?
Yeah,
He was eating a
that's
cheese stick and a funnel cake at the fair.
Amen. What do you pick up on the nose, Mark?
That's what I'm trying to pick. You know, I pick out like a very, not a smoky, but a very woody kind of aroma to it.
Like an oakiness.
There is an oakiness, but it's not a, I don't know. It's not a, because when I'm thinking about toasted, I try to think about 1910 or double oaked or something like that. So I'm looking for kind of that smoky, marshmallowy, toasty aroma, but I don't pick that up at all. So I don't know if it's just, I had the preconceived notion of what I thought this should nose like.
No,
because-
I agree with you on that. I don't think that this has like the quote unquote characteristics,
Yeah,
key characteristics that you automatically assume.
because it does. You said something like dessert, but this does not smell as desserty.
Yeah,
to
there's
me.
more. I'll
Dessert-like.
agree with Matt. There's more fruit notes in this.
I think it has to do with the proof point being 86 proof too. Because I mean, like I get that powdered sugar note for me is like a very mild note. It's like a just light vanilla. It's just sweet.
Like, yeah,
But I feel like if this been at 100 proof, there'd be a big difference in the nose.
yeah. You know where that vanilla note comes from? No, anyway, I'm just kidding.
Tell me where you read it at, Mark.
I read it in a book.
He looked at a picture in a book.
I've been looking at lots of pictures in the books. So yes, learning all about that. But I don't, pick up the sweetness, like you said, a little bit of the vanilla. But beyond that, I don't know. I'm not picking out a whole. I mean, it still smells like a bourbon. It doesn't, to me, have that. I don't know. I guess I went into it thinking it's going to have a.
I think I'll maybe try to say what you're putting out here, Mark.
Please do, Matt, because I'm not articulating very well.
Rather than smelling to me like it's been in a toasted, like that heavy marshmallow campfire s'mores, like really charred second barrel, it almost smells like it's just been double barreled. Like that, maybe that second barrel was more air dried, air toasted than really like put to the fire.
Right.
Like some of the other toasteds or secondary finished barrels are.
Yeah.
Like the Woodford double oak, like you pick up some definite dark toasting charring on that one, but this it just like has a nice clean subtle kind of secondary wood aroma to it, if that makes sense to what you were trying to say.
It's kind of thrown out. You were talking about strawberries. I kind of pick up almost like a cherry aroma to it now that it's opened up a little bit, but still get some of that woodsy, that oakiness really comes through to me as well.
I think it's got a nice nose.
Well, I think you got a nice nose too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So, hey, news. Let's talk some news. What do you guys? I got something we could talk about. And this was a shock, I think, to pretty much everybody, because this was just the beginning of September. Was that when it was?
September 1.
Yeah, Denny Potter and Jane Bowie from Maker's Mark announcing they are gone, or Maker's Mark announcing they're gone, I guess.
Did you have any preconceived notions that anything like that was going to come down the line?
I did not, because Matt, we just had him on the show.
I say it's been pretty recent.
Yeah, it was probably 2 months prior or so. And
Yeah,
they were busy mixing and matching, getting stuff together for the latest finish series, right?
Yeah, it wasn't the one that just came out, but it was the one. I think it was the finishing series just before that, because Denny picked one. Because remember, they had to wrap it up. It's like it was due that day, and they were at Jane's. Were they at Jane's house? They're neighbors, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, you could tell they get along really well, which is great. I mean, they're like brother and sister. It's funny because they banter with each other and they bicker. And
I was going to say, are they going to be a package deal wherever they go, you think?
Oh yeah,
I hope so.
I have no doubt about it. I think it's both of them going somewhere to do something. And I will say that I did text Denny that day and I'm sure he got tons of messages, but I just texted him and said, hey, congratulations. I'm sure it's, a little scary, but I'm sure it's super exciting. Let us know. He's like, well, we're not ready to share any information with anybody just yet. So the Bourbon Life was not able to scoop any info on that. So I really don't know. I have no clue what they're doing, but kind of a big shock, I think. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Maker's Mark can't really keep a hold of a master distiller. I mean, just to be frank, that they have one mash bill. So I'm sure for a master distiller who wants to experiment and do things, because how long ago was it Denny left Heaven Hill?
2018, I believe.
So 4 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Yeah. Because he had been at Maker's and left and went to Heaven Hill to become their master distiller.
Yeah.
And then left there to come back to Maker's Mark in 18. And now 4 years later, he's out the door. I know
90% of what Heaven Hill puts out is one mash bill, 78, 10, 12.
Right.
But they experiment. They're doing all kinds of things. And it wasn't until, well, I mean, okay, we can't say it wasn't until, because I'm sure that they had plans pre that first wood finishing release.
Yeah.
But Maker's Mark is just now starting to get like exciting to the public world for the bourbon market.
Sure.
So, and maybe that's it. Like maybe that's all they're going to do, which I love the wood finishing stuff. That's why I love the private selects, because it's like you're doing your own wood finishing.
Sure.
But maybe they just got bored, or maybe they were putting constraints on exactly how crazy and wild they could get with this stuff.
Yeah, that's what I kind of wonder, because I mean, Denny was there. Obviously, he helped when Bill Jr. decided he wanted to do the Maker's 46.
Yeah.
So he was instrumental, part of that team to help develop that, because Bill wanted to create his own. I think he calls it Maker's on steroids, basically. But it was just all the flavors that he enjoyed intensified, and that's why he did the 46. But he kind of wanted to leave his own mark on the brand, because Maker's Mark had been around since 52, 53, and it was the same product for 60 years, basically. So they did the 46, which is a little bit different. But then Jane comes in, and she's the master of maturation and director of innovation, and she's doing all these different crazy wood finishing series, which was a lot of fun. I mean, I've enjoyed pretty much every one they put out.
Oh yeah,
I've enjoyed it. And they started the Makers, the whiskey drop, and they're putting out these special little releases through that as well. So I don't know, man. It's just, I guess, one mash bill and kind of doing things the same over and over, even though you can experiment with the wood. There's not much else you're really getting a chance to experiment there with. So Stacey, what do you think?
I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I honestly wouldn't be too surprised if we start to see this more throughout your larger companies.
Okay.
Just from like a lack of creative expression, I think.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more craft brands that are popping up out there that are getting a pretty good name for themselves. So I think maybe not in the immediate future, but I think maybe a couple years down the road we could see quite a few people folling suit.
Well, we've seen, case in point, the show that we just had out this week.
Exactly.
With Jackie. I think everybody was just blown away because we were like I remember when that happened, we're just all like, what? And we talked about that several different times. And then a week later, it's Hidden Barn, she's gone, she's got partners, and it's a new brand with a different distillery, and they're putting out product. And we talked about that. I mean, it was a really good conversation. We got off track quite a bit during that show, but
good episode.
But we still had a lot of fun with it. But yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty apparent, Matt, when we talked to her, that it was just an opportunity for her to kind of escape the whole the corporate setting, the constraints that I think she felt were put on her, the demands, being the whiskey rock star for Old Forester, and people know wherever. And I'm sure Denny probably experiences that, and Jane to some extent as well. But maybe it's a chance to step back as well, recapture a little bit of your own private life, have some work-life balance. And Jackie said that Old Forester was really good about that for her. But I think she just saw that as an opportunity. But even what's his Jeff Arnett? Was he the master distiller at down in Tennessee? That place I don't talk about. Yeah.
Oh, that place.
Was his name? Is it Jeff Arnett? Anyway, he left like 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And then another big name, a guy in the marketing department apparently at Old Forester, left about 2 months ago. Director of marketing, I think. I mean, so yeah, you're starting to see these shakeups and these people leaving. So Matt, what do you think about this? What's your opinion?
I think there's a lot of new money coming into the whiskey industry, and I think it only makes sense.
Yeah.
Just in the last month and some of the festivals that we've been to, how many people and distilleries did we talk to that have an expansion going on, that are going to build something that were maybe an NDP, non-distiller, and not producing, that now have a $51 million, $100 million project going on to start distilling.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think there's a lot of money coming into the industry from outside of the industry, and I think it makes sense. Maybe Jane and Denny have been contacted by someone who's putting something together, and
that's what I think.
They
I mean,
asked if they wanted to be a part of it. I think Jackie
Yeah.
is a great example of how this happened. A couple other people came in from outside of the industry, and
Right.
she saw the vision, jumped on board. And I certainly can't fault anyone for that. It's a great way to express oneself and a good way to do it. So I think that I certainly don't imagine them leaving was under like any bad will or anything. They probably just got a great opportunity and a good option.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I talked to their marketing guy that does a lot of their stuff for them for Maker's Mark just a couple of weeks ago, and he'd called me and we were just talking a little bit, and he said he was shocked. Everybody was just like it was like out of left field. Nobody was expecting that, he said. So I think
when did they find out? Did they get the email the same time as everyone else?
he didn't say, but
Can you imagine?
he said it was a shock to everybody. So I don't know how much advance notice they got, but I think it was a big. And there were no hard feelings. He said, nobody was mad at anybody. Nobody was leaving on bad terms. It was just they obviously saw other opportunities and wanted to do it. But what that is remains to be seen. I'm really curious about it. So.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens.
I need to text him back.
I've had my conspiracy theories because I thought maybe, with Jacob leaving Green River.
Oh,
maybe,
yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Denny going down there and Jane going down there, and they kind of pushing the envelope a little bit for Bardstown Bourbon Company, and like them two kind of run that. That's been one of them. Another one's some like a buddy of mine tossed out Blue Run, but I just don't see Blue Run going with anyone else but Rutledge. Like because that's their tie. Unless they want to start their own brand, I don't know if they've got the money or the backers. But I feel like someone had to come to them and they were like, "We'll let you make your own product. Just give us a dollar amount for the package deal."
That's what I think. I think that's my gut feeling is that somebody came in and said, we want this to happen and we want you two to be the one because we know you've got constraints where you are, but we want to give you carte blanche to go out and do whatever. And knowing Denny's record with Heaven Hill and with Maker's Mark and Jane's record there at Maker's Mark with what she did in terms of innovation, I think somebody with some money probably said, we could really make a go at this. So
excited to see what comes out.
I am too, because I love those guys. Denny's just such a great storyteller. He's just such a down to earth dude. I think just one of the funnest guys I think to be around in the industry. We've had him on the show twice, but I've got to meet him in person 2 or 3 times, and he's just always like that. Anytime you meet him or talk to him, he's always just very genuine. Very, I don't know. I hope the best for him, and but I'm sure they've got something pretty cool up their sleeves. So. All right, so let's talk about this Michter's Toasted Sour Mash. What do you guys get in terms of the palate and the finish on it? Chad, throw it to you.
I get a little bit of grain, some rye grain. Like it tastes like a rye bread, a little bit of hay. It's got some of the toasted sugars you would expect from a toasted bourbon, but it's very light, delicate, soft. I get like an artificial fruit candy note, and I know that note really well now because someone decided to get a bin of Dum Dum suckers at work, and I don't suck on suckers. I just eat them like hard candy, so I just bite them right off the stick.
Yeah.
But I get like a faint note of like just generic like red sucker flavor.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
But I don't know. I remember like having batch from one, and like I told you before we started, like I pretty much guzzled that bottle down.
So this one doesn't.
And this one's just like, it's fine, but
it doesn't spark
I would just rather spend $40 on the regular. And
I got you.
But Breaks my heart.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Chad.
What is the price point on this toasted release?
$100.
$100.
There you go. Matt, what are you thinking, man, in terms of the palate and finish?
The sour mash for me is always a difficult one because it fits such a weird place within the Michter's portfolio.
Yeah.
I think like the rye is really good, really spicy, brings a lot of flavor for the rye. The bourbon, I think, has a nice corn up front and then comes with the rye. They won't tell you the mash bill, but I think it brings a lot of spice with it as well. But the sour mash for me,
As Chad
and
Pops,
Chad,
Pops
It was very
released
inconspicuous.
batch number 1 on
Well,
that.
I wanted to try batch one to see if it was as good as I remember it being. But go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
no, Chad, I think your artificial sucker candy flavor was right on for me. It kind of comes across as like a artificial.
Like saccharin or some
No,
artificial
more like an
sweetener?
artificial butterscotch or like artificial
Yeah.
caramel.
Huh.
There's a little bit of hay, a little bit of grass that you were talking about with this too, Chad. It's got a really short but dry finish.
Yeah.
Not a lot of flavor, I would say, with the finish. So
Yeah. Stacy, what about you?
I'm going to second what the guys are saying over here as I'm being rudely interrupted. But while you're pouring one of those, I'll take one, please.
Pour up a batch one just for comparison's sake.
You were talking about the artificial butterscotch. It was coming through almost as like the root beer flavored one to me.
Oh, yeah.
Just like the tail end of it there, like had that root beer sucker. So when you said sucker, I'm like, that's what it had, that candy-esque quality to it. Finish is short. You do get a little bit more of the rye spice than I was expecting to with this one, honestly. I'm just going to say, if I'm going to spend the money, it's going to be on the toasted barrel rye and not on the bourbon.
Yeah.
Because that toasted barrel rye is
It is.
phenomenal.
I agree with that. If you could find that toast, that's probably,
It's one of my favorites.
it's one of my favorites, I would have to say. So, yeah, I mean, I hate, because I love what Michter's does. I love their stuff. And Dan's a great guy. Andrea's obviously a wonderful person. I don't know her. Everything I see and hear about her is just wonderful. But yeah, I'm just not, I don't know. And maybe because when I think of toasted, I have that preconceived, it's going to be dessert-like quality, like a 1910 or the double oaked or something along that line. And this one it doesn't do that. And maybe that was their intention. Maybe they didn't want to go. Maybe they didn't want to go that route. Maybe they didn't want it to come across like that. But it is tannic. It's very drying on the finish. Mm-hmm. And you know me, Matt. I mean, you give me that, and it's like, no, I'm not going to.
I think it's a weird one to toast.
Yeah.
The sour mash.
I would agree with that.
Their bourbon and the rye makes sense, but the sour mash, just even as the sour mash, the whiskey itself is just like a black sheep.
Yeah.
Of kind of, and not in a good or a bad way. It's different from the other two offerings. And so maybe this one doesn't benefit as much from toasting as
Also,
the others.
the price point, you can find lots of other toasted varieties for a more affordable price out there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'd go buy 2 bottles of 1910. Well, not 2 bottles, but close to it for $100.
One
Or
point, you'd buy a bottle and a third for.
Okay. I thought
Yeah.
it was only like $55.
it's like closer to 60.
Yeah.
It's like $58.99 or something like that.
Well, still.
Still a solid product.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, we probably need to wrap up round 1 here. So, since it's just us, we can do this. I always feel weird. I don't want to do it in front of other distillers, but fixture or mixture. I think I know everybody's vote on this one.
It's a mixture for me.
Yeah.
Mixture for me, sadly, because I've yet to have a product from Michter's I've not really cared for. I just,
Yeah.
this saddens me.
Yeah. I'm sorry to do that, man. But
Because you were
Way to
super
start off the
stoked.
night, Mark.
Yeah, you were super stoked about it originally.
I know. I insisted. I'm like, come on, guys. We got to at least.
I mean, I'm really glad that I got to try it, but I would be really bummed if I spent $100 on this. I'm
Yeah,
just going to be
okay.
honest.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I'd be bummed. It's not something that's in my wheelhouse.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that. It's just if I get it toasted, I want it to hit that certain profile that I want it to hit, and this one does not hit that. And it may appeal to some people, but it's just not. This when I think of a toasted bourbon or whiskey, this is not what I want out of it. So not for me. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. We'll get a word from our sponsors. We'll be back with more with the Bourbon Life Crew and the Grizz in just a minute.
The Stave Restaurant is a bourbon lover's paradise right here in the heart of bourbon country. Located at 5711 McCracken Pike in Millville, Kentucky, between Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve, Chef Kyle Klatka prepares amazing food each day that features an elevated Kentucky-inspired cuisine. With a full-service bar, great bourbon flights, and signature cocktails, the Stave is the perfect place to catch up with friends after a fun-filled day of touring the local distilleries. Be sure to check them out online at thestavekentucky.com or at Instagram and Facebook at The Stave Kentucky. Three Chord's line of whiskeys embody the spirit of creativity. The whiskey is a true collaboration between producer and composer Neil Giraldo and master blender distiller Ari Sussman. The Three Chord team of expert blenders, coopers, and sensory professionals have developed a multi-step process they call Perfectly Tuned Taste. This process begins by carefully selecting the finest bourbon and rye whiskeys from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana, and then blending them together. Find out more about the whiskeys and distribution in your area at www.threechordbourbon.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back to round 2 of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me tonight, we've got the Bourbon Life Crew. We're hanging out live here in the Bourbon Life Studios, otherwise known as my basement. We've got Matt.
Yeah.
We got Stacy.
Yo.
We got Chad.
Woo.
And we got me.
Yeah. It's the old...
The Grizz.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah, the old TBLPC FOTR.
Don't do that.
I don't even know what that was.
What?
What?
Huh?
As Finger says, what? Anyway, as we move on to round 2, we've got something delicious poured up. We hope it's delicious. Chad, so graciously,
I think it's delicious.
brought this for us to enjoy. So do you want to tell everybody what we have poured up here, Chad?
We have Fortuna Kentucky Straight Bourbon, selected and bottled by Rare Character, coming in at 102 proof. And the back of the bottle says, at the height of America's original whiskey boom of the late 19th century, a German immigrant named Phil Hollenbach crafted a brand called Fortuna that helped define the early days of the modern bourbon industry. Hollenbach left a lasting mark on the whiskey trade, having found great success in Louisville, Kentucky. He strived to delight customers far and wide by sharing his taste of good fortune. I almost said good Fortuna. Over 100 years since its inception, Fortuna Bourbon has now been revitalized by a new generation of whiskey lovers to celebrate, aged a minimum of 6 years and hand-selected by the folks behind Rare Character Whiskey. The spirit of Hollenbach's passion and dedication lives on in the remarkable Kentucky Straight Bourbon. This is batch 1A, bottled last month.
All right. So
And available on shelves.
Available at a liquor store near you if you're near a Total Wine or a liquor barn.
there you go. There you go.
Do you
Pick it
know
up.
anything about the mash bill or distiller?
I don't. It's all from one Kentucky distillery, though. It's the youngest age in there is 6 years old. And then it's all
Yeah, that's all
Papa
you
would
get.
tell me.
So we don't know who.
Don't know who.
Can you speculate, or will it be offensive to people that...
I mean, we can speculate as we taste on. I feel
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
I feel like all four of us just throw out, like, as we taste it and
what we
knows it,
think,
who we think
what,
it is.
what we're thinking.
Yeah.
Color on it. It's
Color's beautiful.
yeah, it is. It is a pretty. It's not a like a darker amber, so it is a little bit. I don't know, beyond golden, obviously. So it is a little darker than that, but yeah, it is a beautiful, shiny. It's clingy in the glass as well. Lots of legs, so oily viscosity there. I think. Matt, what are you picking up on the nose, man?
To me, so we just had a toasted bourbon on the first, or a whiskey on the first round. To me, this tastes more toasted than we just had.
Noses.
Yeah. It's the nose. I get like heavy marshmallow, like really sweet, flaky pie crust. But there's also, to counterbalance the sweet, there's like a savory note on it.
Mm-hmm.
It like has almost a savory, briny, like chicken soup type
Yep.
aroma to it, where there's like some vegetal herbs and just like a nice sweetness and a savory note that comes across with it. But it's really like soft and delicate. It's not overly pungent. I really, really like this nose.
Stacy.
So it's funny that Matt mentioned the chicken soup, because the first night that I got to nose this, I got a lot of that on it. I'm like, it just reminds me of like a fall bowl of soup.
Okay.
And I got a lot of like herbal notes from it. Now going back in and nosing it, I get some mint, like spearmint on the back. like a eucalyptus-y sage, something like that.
Gotcha.
I don't know. It's got some really strong herbal qualities to it.
So,
in my
so we're thinking this is a very high rye bourbon, or maybe a blend with some high rye bourbons in it.
Perhaps.
Could be. I mean, they didn't say same mash bill. I was just told all from one distillery. So it could be 2 different mash bills or multiple mash bills.
Yeah.
So
What do you think, Chad? What are you picking up on it?
I agree with like the spearmint sage note. Whenever I cracked this bottle open after I got home from purchasing it, I had a drink and then I was cooking dinner and washed my hands and it smelled like the minty soap, whatever we have by our sink. That very reminiscent. I get that toasty brown sugar note, like what Matt was saying. This definitely nose is more toasted than the toasted Michters we just had.
Yeah.
And then I get like a little slight hint of cherry. It's just like a very
Yeah, it was funny because I keep smelling it, and I'm gonna say pencil shavings. And you guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but I can't get past this odor of like a pencil shaving type of aroma, and I can't work past that. But then I'd pick up the little sweetness, and that to me came through as a cherry. But you said you were talking about brininess in chicken soup, so I don't know. Maybe that's more accurate descriptor, but for me, it just has this reminiscent of that new pencil. I don't know why, guys. It's weird that I'm picking that up. Maybe everything's just off for me today. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but
Whatever you smell is what you feel. So
okay,
there's no wrong answers.
There's no excuses for me tonight. So what can I say? But I do like the sweetness that came through. It took it a few minutes.
It does open up nicely.
Kind of open up to pick that note out because it was just that one-dimensional, maybe brininess. Maybe that's a good way to describe it. I don't know, Matt. It just kept throwing me off. I couldn't get past. Like there's almost like a cedar note or something to it.
yes.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, cedar 100%. Now
Okay, well maybe that's when I say pencil shavings. I don't know why I associate that to cedar, but for some reason,
Well, did you have?
I didn't use cedar pencils.
I was going to say,
but-
did you have a
but
cedar
maybe
pencil?
just that wood shaving.
he grew up in the rich part of East.
Yeah, he
exactly.
did.
The
We
rich part
chopped
of-
down our own cedar
I
pencils.
was in the rich part of Eastern Kentucky. I was in the rich part of Flatwoods. Yeah, cedar. So does that make sense then?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's throw out pencil shavings. The next time I smell pencil shavings, I'm just going to
Say
say
cedar.
Cedar.
I smell cedar.
You sound smarter when you say
I know, because pencil shavings makes me sound like I'm some kid sitting in the corner eating my pencil, right?
Yeah, I mean, because you'd be talking to some master distiller today who's like 11 years old, and they're like, we use pens and mechanical pencils.
Yeah. It's like, what? What's a
What's a
pencil?
sharpener?
What's a sharpener?
What's a pencil shaving?
What? You showed off your Christmas outfit?
The only
after
pencil I have
Christmas?
goes to my iPad.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's a sad thought to think
Yeah.
about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So cedar, and I get some sweetness cherry, but the little brown sugary that is coming through as well. So, and again, it does. I agree. It does have more of a toasty kind of aroma, at least than what I think our Michters did in the first round. So interesting stuff. And this is from Rare Character. We had, was it the rye? Was that what it was that we drank?
We have Trevor's Liquor.
Yeah.
It was
Single barrel.
magical.
Yeah. And everybody was really, really into that one. Big fans of that one. So
Yeah. If anybody has a bottle floating around out there.
same guys, same people
Slide
putting
into
this
DMs.
out. So, and it is sourced. Where they, do you know who does their bottling for them, or where it's being bottled? Or
So I know that their warehouses are or where Pablo's at his warehouse. I assume like where they keep their stuff at is in Stanford.
Oh, okay.
I assume so. I would assume it's also bottled in Stanford.
Okay. All right.
But I know he's originally from LA, but there's a couple people who are in with this, what is his name? Alex Shapiro from Heaven.
One of the Shapiro family.
Yeah.
Max was the
Max, the dad. I think this
dad,
is the son.
the son. Yeah, I can't remember what his name is, but okay. Well, good to know, man. All right, so let's talk some other newsworthy things. And recently, there was some interesting news that came out regarding stickers that were being put on some whiskey bottles. Guys, did you guys hear that news? See that news?
Yeah, sure did.
I did not. Enlighten me.
Yeah, what happened, Mark?
Well, apparently a bourbon club that is located about 70 miles to the west of us, which is a pretty big club, actually, does a lot of barrel picks, got creative with one of their stickers and decided to depict a very well-known horse trainer who has been recently accused, I guess, or was accused of potentially altering the horse's performance, enhancing performance. Anyway, so it was a pretty rough sticker. Did you guys see? I mean,
I never saw a picture of the sticker.
I've not
actually.
seen the sticker, but I will Google it now because I'm sure
I
at
want to
this
see
point-
it.
Yeah, so
because when I heard about it, I was like, how bad did it have to be for him to cause a stink?
Well, I think, and I can't remember all the language that was on there, but talking about his Go Fast juice or something like that, and it was,
come on,
and it was
you're gonna
a
do
big
stuff
syringe.
like that.
had a
You're
big
setting yourself up for.
Oh yeah, Bobby's secret horsey stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. So, but it is his image and his likeness. There is no
Okay,
doubt
yeah.
when you see that sticker,
Yeah,
You know who that
you
is.
know exactly who that is, right?
I mean, I think it's funny.
So it was a bottle. It was a pick of Pinhook bourbon.
What kind of pinhook was it?
It's a true small batch 3-barrel blend, and then the quote on the back says, "Just let old Uncle Bobby blend you up a batch of that good stuff."
Which
And then it's got Uncle Bobby holding a syringe,
syringe,
and a fair style ketchup bottle that says Bobby's secret horsey stuff.
yeah,
New and improved, make them go fast formula.
make them go fast. So yes, so obviously
All right.
the speculation about I guess was that the Derby? Or was that last year's Derby?
Last year's Derby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
so-
won.
But he
and-
got in trouble.
But he'd
Like
been
2
in
years
trouble.
before that.
2 years
Yes,
before that,
yeah. So
too.
it's been an ongoing controversy surrounding
So
him.
it shouldn't surprise him at all. I mean,
No.
Yeah, but still, you get a bourbon club. They buy a barrel of, or they do a release of Pinhook. They buy it from Pinhook. Pinhook obviously sold them the barrel, but then obviously they're out of the picture. Mm-hmm. But then it is sold through Westport Whiskey and Wines over in Louisville, which is a well-known store. It does a lot of great picks and helps Louisville Bourbon Club do their picks as well. So just a lot of things, a lot of parties, 3 parties there, and they weren't sued, but apparently Bobby's
Uncle
attorneys, Uncle Bobby's attorneys were not too happy about that because I think a local news station over there did a story about the bottle and about the sticker. And I think that's how they initially found out about that, or I guess somebody saw it and told him, "Hey, did you see this?" So
Maybe
obviously-
somebody asked him to sign it.
Ooh,
could you imagine?
No, I can't. But I mean, here's the thing. So there've been other stickers. We talked about this before we got started tonight. We talked about the Riff Patino, right? Mm-hmm. So it was it both Rick? Was it Rick at Kentucky and Rick at Louisville? It was a half sticker, right? There was one. It was like dressed in blue and all like angelic and whatnot, and then there
the
was
Red Devil.
and then the Red Devil and like prostitutes in the background and all this crazy stuff. So it was a split sticker, but it was called Riff Patino. That surprised me that nothing was ever done. I mean, really kind of surprised me that nothing ever came out of that.
and especially with New Riff, who they're like, we love our bottle. We love that
Yeah.
it's got that gradient going on. We don't want any alterations to the bottle. But they don't forbid anyone from doing wax and stickers and toys and sprinkles on top.
Yeah.
So that was my question. Is Four Roses the only brand that has that current?
As far as I know,
As far as I know, like they're the only one. But I've heard rumors of like, and this is all just Instagram, interweb talks, Reddit,
Sure.
and whatnot.
Sure.
Of a couple groups with Buffalo Trace getting in trouble, but it's not so much that what they did, like that they did it. It's what they did on the stickers.
yeah.
So, like I personally know a couple people who are in a charity group, and they're omitting stickers and they're just going to tubes because everyone loves tubes. So, like their Four Roses pick was in a tube. Their Eagle Rare and their Buffalo Trace were in tubes. Their Stag Junior is going to be in a tube. So,
Who did they get to supply or make the tubes though? That's what
I
I'm
just
curious
go
about.
online and just they're like 15 cents for our
Tubemaker.com.
I don't know. Like I was just sitting there thinking to myself, like, okay, where are they gonna get this stuff? But
I have a strange suspicion, Stacey, you probably do not want to Google search.
after you said that, I'm like, I'm not going to Google that. But thank you, Mark. Tubemaker.com.
Yeah, you probably do not.
Probably .gov. I'll go there.
I probably wouldn't.
But if you want to Google tubemaker.com, please leave a comment.
Yeah, please
and
let
a
us know
review
how that
in
goes.
your favorite podcast app list of choice.
wow.
You've been
goodness.
warned.
Yeah. So anyway, Matt, I don't know. You're not an Instagram guy, man, but were you aware of the?
That's what you think. Matt has a bigger
He's
Instagram following than you do.
He's a secret
He's a
Instagrammer.
secret Instagrammer.
Yeah.
He is not.
Yeah. So you haven't been following that controversy, or did you know?
I had heard about it, but
Yeah.
I'm not following it on social media.
So they reached a settlement. I don't know who paid what or what was paid, but
$50 grand.
50 grand to a charity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't
Well,
know if
that's
that's
good that it
each
went to a
or
charity.
combined.
Yeah, I think it was combined total was 50,000, and I don't know who paid what portion of what. If it was, I don't know who it was that ended up having to pay the majority of it. I mean, I hope it wasn't Pinhook because again, Pinhook sells them that, and
Pinhook shouldn't have anything to do with it because it's so far removed.
Right.
I mean, once it leaves the supplier and goes to the distributor, and then at that point, the supplier has nothing to do with it. They don't put the stickers on there. They don't do any of that. So
yeah,
it should not.
And
be
obviously,
on Pinhook.
Westport Whiskey really didn't. I mean, they facilitated the sale of the bottles for the club. They really weren't the ones doing it. I mean, it was.
Yeah,
it
but
was
then you go down the rabbit hole of where do you draw the line of
Sure, yeah.
who gets the final say on what goes on that bottle?
I agree with that. Well, and we talked about that. Four Roses has said no, you cannot do this. Plain and simple. So I just wonder if we're going to see now other brands that are going to finally say, you can't do this. And I'll be honest, I'm not a huge sticker fan, but we did our pick. The three of us.
We've done a
Chad,
sticker.
Matt. Yep.
You taters.
We went to we went to
straight
Bullet.
up taters.
but
We actually had that discussion that day of are we doing a tater sticker?
Yeah, we did. We talked about it because I was like, I really don't want to, but we had the moment,
Yeah.
where the deer just pokes his head up over the ridge and looks, looking around a big,
It's like that scene in Bambi.
Yeah.
But with snow.
but with snow, with ice on the ground, right?
Guys, that's beautiful.
I mean, it had a meaning. It wasn't just that we were randomly doing something like Riff Patino and this Bobby's Go-Go Juice or whatever. I mean,
So without stickers, how does a company like Good Times exist?
Wax.
Oh,
Let me tell you, I received 6 bottles about 9 months ago. Do you want to take a guess at how many I have on the shelf?
6.
Yeah, that would be correct.
Have you opened any of them?
No, because it's not a store pick. It's just Good Times. So we have no reason to open it, but it's
it's at the store.
yeah, it's non-age stated cash strength MGP at $110.
Oh,
Oh, $110.
okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Non-age stated?
Non-age stated.
Yeah, no thank you.
insert 5 to 6 year here.
Yeah. So probably pass on that, right?
Yeah, no thanks.
All right. So stickers, yes or no?
It would not bother me one bit if I never had to if I never had a sticker on the back of a bottle. I like to know that here's the information I want. What is the mash bill? How old is it? And where in the rick house was it? If the sticker doesn't contain that, I really give a shit less.
Yeah, that makes sense. Stacey, what about you? What do you think?
I find comedy in some stickers, but do I need to have it on my bottle, or am I willing to pay more for said sticker? No, I'm not. Also, same goes for wax. Just leave the freaking wax off of it. I can't stand it. Half the time they don't put a tab.
I have to get a knife out.
Oh my
or
God, it drives me nuts.
melt it off or whatever. Yeah,
Appreciate the artistry, but just leave the wax.
and the Lego figures off the top or the figurines or whatever else.
Yeah,
and,
I'm not
and
a
the sprinkles, as Chad would say.
Sprinkles, yeah. I'm not a fan of that. No offense, Aaron at Happy Hour Liquor. I know that they did an Old Forester pick and did birthday sprinkles on it, but no offense to him at all.
funny.
But
No offense,
nah,
Aaron.
I'm not a fan of it. So
Matt,
quit it.
What do you think, Matt?
I think our next barrel pick, we should not tell anybody where it's from and just dip the whole thing in wax.
Mystery bottle.
Mystery
Yeah.
bottle.
Rebottle every bottle too.
Oh,
just
yeah.
put it in a generic wine bottle or something.
There you go.
That way no one knows.
Just go whole hog on it. Dip
Well-
the thing in wax. put a
Then once you
stick-
get the wax off, there's a sticker that says this is a Bourbon Life barrel pick, and that's it.
Like
There you
JK.
Yeah.
Wow. Good idea.
I'm indifferent toward them. I think they're kind of fun, but
Yeah, I mean, they can be fun. They can be funny. I mean, I thought, ours had a meaning to us at least. So that was, it's fun. It wasn't anything outlandish or crazy. And so, I look at them like, I laughed at that one, I laughed at the rip.
I mean, they-
Yeah, I think it's funny.
But I was like,
I think it's funny. I mean, it's very tongue in cheek, especially the fact that they paid $50,000 to a charity. Like, this guy's pumping a horse full of steroids, and they're like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna donate something to charity that helps horses.
Yeah.
Like LOL. But I mean, it's when you get into the copyright. Like, did you see on Coming Whiskey's Instagram page there was a barrel pick from somewhere, and it's called Colonel Taylor, like Colonel with a K, like corn kernel.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Who was that did that?
I can't, but it's the whoever it is. The girl was like, "'Cause my name is Taylor," and that was whatever.
Yep.
But then you're getting very touchy into that, and then I know a group who did a pick of Starlight, and they did the Taylor 4-grain sticker on the back of their bottle,
and it looks very
close to it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's when you start to there's the parody law, where it's an obvious making fun of, which I feel like the Bob Baffert kind of falls into that. But when you're using his likeness to that degree, it's different.
Yep.
If you're using the style of, the logo in the style of, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
But when people are going like tit for tat.
Oh yeah,
I mean, some of these barrel groups, I mean, like, it's bro it out all day long, but if they get hit with $1,000 or $100,000 fine,
there's no way they're going to be able to.
Yeah,
nobody's going to chip in the money to pay for that.
No, because it's like, oh, I'm here for barrels. Screw you, man. You're the president.
That's what you think.
right.
They're going to dip the whole bottle in wax now and charge double for it.
And then
Good job,
there's
Matt.
yeah, that's going to be the new craze. But it does piss me off for all the barrel groups out there who are like, but my Weller Full Proof is worth more than $60 because we have a cool sticker on it. No, it's not. You're greedy. You suck, and I can give a shit less about your sticker.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks.
He doesn't give a shit.
That's right. Let's jump back to the Fortuna before we really
I dropped the mic.
Mic
Mic
drop.
drop.
Good job, Chad. All right, so let's get thoughts in terms of the palate and the finish. Stacy, what do you get?
Oh shit! I was going to say, come to me last.
Nope, too late. I'm already there. You're up.
I enjoy the finish on this one. I think it drinks just a little bit higher than 102, in my opinion. Doesn't have anything super crazy jumping off across the palate to me. I just think it's very well rounded.
Yeah,
that's what I've got to say about it.
gotcha, Matt. That's all I had to say about that.
That's all I got. That's all I got to say about that.
It's got a nice spice right up front. Good cinnamon.
Yeah.
The heat. It's not that peppercorn spice. Nice lingering heat right in the front. Then it kind of lends itself. At least I taste like peanut brittle.
Okay.
A little bit of leather, a little bit of oak, and on it in the palate as well. Some honey, a sweetness, and then kind of a smoky cinnamon heat finish.
Yeah.
If I had to guess the distillery, to me this kind of tastes like Jim Beam.
Ooh.
Interesting. Everybody looks
I know,
at
but
Chad.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
But
Stacey, you didn't give your guess.
this is to me kind of reminiscent of some of the Knob Creek single barrels that I've had. Maybe a lot more subdued. Obviously, we're at 102 proof. I think it does drink hotter.
Yeah.
But some of the characteristics, a little bit of the peanut, there's some of that cinnamon, little vanilla, oak, tobacco, leather. To me, it kind of drinks like that.
Well, I'm going to piggyback off of that because, yeah, that sounds good. But no, the peanut, yeah, that makes sense.
Chad, what about you,
I
man?
don't know.
I love the palate on it. I think it's a great. It does drink a little warmer than 102. I'd probably I always say this if you serve it to me blind, but if you serve it to me blind, I'd say 110 minimum. Just cause of the tannins it's got on there. It's still I think I like it so much because it seems like it has toasted qualities. I don't know if they did toast it or re-barrel it or anything, but it does have a nice prominent brown sugar, butterscotch, toffee note. I got a little bit of chocolate on the finish, which the leather, tobacco kind of that Matt mentioned kind of all goes together. I do pick up a nuttiness on it, but I was thinking this kind of reminded me because there's like a malty honey note, and I usually get that on Heaven Hill. Okay. Especially your more 6 to 8 year products like Evan Williams 1783.
Yeah. That was going to be I was going to say Heaven Hill probably. That was going to be my guess.
But that malty honey combined with that chocolate and the tobacco leather and the nuttiness really kind of seals it in.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's nothing I can add to the descriptors. This has got a wonderful flavor to it. I think it's a very very well balanced bourbon, at least in my opinion. Maybe a little bit tannic on the end of it, but Matt, I mean, you nailed it with the cinnamon, the smokiness at the end as well. Very, very nice. I mean, I really, really enjoy this.
How much would you pay for this bottle?
How much would I pay for this? I'd probably pay $75-$80.
Okay.
How much is it?
Like $87.99, I think, ish.
Yeah,
I'd pay it. I mean,
yeah.
I'd pay it for this. Matt, what do you think?
That's a steep ask for me to pay at this price. It's good. Don't get me wrong. I really like it, but I don't know. Factoring in price, hard to say fixture or mixture. I'd probably say fixture though.
Okay.
I would probably do it.
All right. What about you guys?
It's a fixture for me.
It's a fixture for me as well. I think the price point is a little high on it, but
And we can make that our third topic, is price point, today's price point in bourbon. But
yeah,
I don't want to. I can go in a whole topic on that. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Price point is a little steep, but I mean, I just feel like that's where we're at today as far as like this quality of bourbon. You know, the new $90 bourbon is yesterday's $50 bourbon.
I agree.
yep.
I definitely agree with that. So yeah, fixture for me. I would buy this. No doubt about it. I probably will buy this.
Well done, Pablo.
Yeah, man. Great job. All right, guys. End of round 2. Wow, we did it. Awesome. One more to go. Everybody just sit tight. We'll be back with more with the Bourbon Life Crew in just a minute. Spirits of French Lick crafts their spirits using only the finest agricultural product that has defined character, following their motto, respect the grain. They lead the way in representing the quality of the Hoosier artisan distilling process while paying tribute to its inseparable past. By implementing best practices from those early times, combined with modern touches, Spirits of French Lick has created a truly unique place in the industry. Spirits of French Lick products are distributed throughout Indiana, Kentucky, and Missouri, and can also be purchased online through Sealbox at sealbox.com. Visit spiritsoffrenchlick.com to learn more information, and make sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. All right, everybody, welcome back for the third and final round of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me live tonight in the Bourbon Life Studios, it's my good friends, Chad,
Whoop, whoop.
Stacy,
Hey,
and
rude.
wow,
Damn.
and Matty Boy. Matthew, what's up, man?
Hey, not much, Mark. How's everybody doing tonight?
Well, I was better until Chad threw daggers over here, but it's fine.
It's all right.
Wow. And hey, keep doing it because nobody's making fun of me. We've made it through
You know what? We haven't made fun
Not
of you
t-
yet.
Not tonight, but we
Two
were in your
rounds.
comments. So
Oh
okay.
yeah, we were totally in your comments yesterday.
Awesome. Yeah, you were.
Mark can read everyone,
I
so he
appreciate
says.
it. Yes, I appreciate it. I posted a picture of myself, and I'm diligently trying to study for my bourbon
You look a little too
certification.
happy to be studying. I feel like this was staged.
It may have been staged.
Okay. And was it bourbon in your cup or was it tea?
No, it was tea. It was harvest fall, like harvest tea or something from.
Like hot toddy or
No. There was no alcohol in it.
hot
whatsoever.
Todd tea.
Nope.
oh,
It was tea. It was
Just
actual-
straight up tea while
it
he's
was-
studying for his bourbon exam.
I had to
Yeah.
stay focused.
Yeah.
sure.
What?
Fall harvest sweet tea.
And now I did actually crack the little book chapter 6 though earlier
Okay.
while I was studying, and
Truth comes
I did
out.
have a pour of that one. So
So I will say, Mark, I do love to make fun of a lot of your new clothing choices, but that red jacket that
did
you bought for
You like
your
that?
Christmas parties,
you like that? I'm gonna wear that.
that's
for
on point.
our holiday extravaganza.
I saw that jacket and I thought, man, that's pretty fly.
Are you going to wear some like sparkly boots with it?
No, I don't have.
No, that's a jacket that deserves like a nice pair of penny loafers.
I know. I got that covered, man. I got it covered. So yeah, but I think I thought holiday parties, you need something festive, right? I don't have any festive
It's pretty fly.
holiday clothing.
Oh,
so
fly.
it's fly. It comes in. It'll be here Wednesday.
All
so.
my festivities are just socks.
Oh, nice, man.
Oh, those are some sick socks,
I like that.
actually.
Yeah.
They're actually Christmas socks.
Sick socks.
6 o'clock. I was listening to Christmas music today. How weird. is that?
Already?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Buddy, it's not even Halloween yet.
You can go to hell.
Yeah. Agreed. I'll drink to that.
Well,
Yep.
Speaking of drinking and going to hell, I think
Mark,
after,
how about you tell us what we're drinking?
after this round, I probably will.
You're going to burn.
I
You're
will
gonna
burn.
there.
I will burn because if anybody follows the Bourbon Life on Instagram and reads the comments, I won't post about it, but I will comment on other people's posts when they post a certain whiskey that is not distilled in Kentucky.
You also make some slights in various episodes.
I have. I honestly have. And it just goes back a long way. But yes, it is. Jack Daniel's single barrel proof.
But what did Jack Daniels ever do to you?
Well, let me just tell you. No, actually, to be honest, Jack Daniel's was probably the first whiskey that I remember tasting. I mean, the first whiskey I ever actually drank was Rebel Yell, because my friend's dad had a bar and he was a big Rebel Yell fan. So when we'd study at his house, I would break into his dad's
There he
liquor
goes
cabinet.
with studying again.
Was this like the
studying
good old days of Stitzel-Weller, or was this in like they were in the hot shit kind of like, who knows what
This
it
was
is?
back in the late 80s, so I don't know,
It's probably the hot shit
or
era.
the mid 80s. It
Hot
probably
shit.
was, but I didn't care because I mixed it with Coca-Cola. But anyway,
Attaboy.
but my best friend's dad bought a bottle of Jack Daniel, the black label, had it up in the cabinet, said it was for cough medicine. You know, they were religious people, but he used it to make cough syrup. So my friend and I would go at night when I'd spend the night. Sometimes we'd get the bottle out, take a straw, and do it like a thief. We'd put our thumb over the top, you know, pull out some Jack Daniels and do a little shot of it,
Medicate yourself.
and then we would do a straw full of water and, you know, put it back in, and we'd make sure we got the bottle back up to the same mark. So yeah, we watered it down over time.
I was going to say, you guys
Yeah,
know
but
that you're just screwing yourselves over too, right?
I know, because eventually it was just going to be watered down, but it didn't matter.
It'd suck when you get sick and you're like, man, this is not helping the cough
Yeah.
at all.
not,
You know?
this is not working, Dad. What's wrong? So yes, but anyway, it's the whole Tennessee Kentucky thing. You know, it goes back to the sports. You know, growing up as a Kentucky fan, and just
Yeah, Tennessee.
yeah. But they did beat Alabama.
Beating Alabama.
That's the only time that
Redeeming
I can.
quality.
That's the only time I can ever remember actually cheering, and it was
Same.
difficult for me. But I did cheer for Tennessee to beat Alabama. Sorry to all you Alabama fans out there, but I did. But yes, so I was at my local Total Wine store just a week or two ago and walked in, and lo and behold, on the shelf was this beautiful, and the bottle's beautiful. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love this bottle. It's got the cool gold label on it, and it's the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof Tennessee whiskey.
How much did you pay for that, Mark?
Chad, how much did I pay for this? Do you remember? 70 something?
Probably about $70.
Okay.
74 after tax.
Well, I mean, it's 130.6 proof.
Yep.
Which is, you know, my jam, man. I love barrel proof. I had this for the first time probably in 2019 in Tennessee, and it was actually I went down there, and Mike Hines just happened to be at a liquor store, and I ran into him, and this liquor store had a nice little back room with all these private bottles and stuff, and they were tasting through some Dusties and whatnot. And Mike, I was telling him that I had a true dislike for Jack Daniels, and he broke the bottle of this out, and I was like, oh shit. I really like that.
Yeah, it changed my mind too, buddy.
So yeah, I mean, it was just crazy. So yes, I do talk smack about Jack Daniels just because it's that whole Kentucky Tennessee thing. It's the whole bourbon Tennessee.
You even got a T-shirt that says Jack is whack, don't you?
I do. No, I don't.
Do you really?
I
I was
don't.
going to say, that's pretty cool, actually. Jack is whack.
But that's a great idea.
That's a Christmas
I think I'm
t-shirt
gonna
coming.
I think I'm gonna have to get that made. I'm gonna wear it underneath my jacket, Matt. Just Jack
I can't
is
wait
what-
for this holiday party.
Yeah, it's gonna be off the chain.
Off the hizzy. So what
All right.
Anyway.
So I don't know honestly, I don't know anything about Jack Daniels. I really don't. I couldn't tell you that. I know it's owned by Brown-Forman. It's in Lynchburg, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, I can't tell you anything about. They do the Lincoln County process, so their bourbon is charcoal mellowed through maple wood, right?
Yep.
So, and that's not what makes it Tennessee whiskey. People will argue with you till they're blue in the face that it's a Lincoln County process. There are bourbons that are charcoal mellowed. Old Ezra 7, I can think right off the top of my head, says it right on the label.
90% of anything out of Heaven Hill.
Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, you get charcoal. I don't know why I can't say charcoal.
Charco.
Yeah, charcoal. But yes, so that is not the distinguishing factor. It was just from a marketing standpoint, because this will, piss people off too, but Jack Daniels meets every federal regulation and requirement to be considered a bourbon. So,
I mean, by law, Tennessee whiskey is just set. It's just something that Tennessee has said, like it has to be distilled, aged in Tennessee to be Tennessee whiskey.
Right.
I mean, charcoal.
there is no federal
Right.
regulation or guideline descriptor. There's
No,
nothing.
he just said he wanted to be set apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like the mash bill for Jack Daniels, for all you guys who are going to cry, It's 80% corn. That's more than 51. 8% rye, 12% malted barley, and it is aged in new charred oak barrels in Tennessee. So that therefore is bourbon.
Yeah.
Correct.
It is. It meets every federal requirement to be called a bourbon and classified as a bourbon. So marketing, fought hard for them, and Tennessee whiskey is what we have. So anyway, with all that said, let's talk about what it noses. So who wants to go first?
Mark, what are you getting on the nose
Yeah,
here?
Mark, you get to go first.
I've been talking. I don't even.
No, you get to go first. This is one that brought you to the bright side of Jack Daniels. So
All right, let me just tell you what this reminds me of. This almost reminds me, when I nose it, of like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I mean, I get sweetness. I get almost a cherry kind of flavor. I don't get banana, which a lot of Brown-Forman products you get. Well, wait a second. I just said that. Now it's the power of suggestion to myself.
do you get banana now?
I thought I did. I'm going to come back to that. I just get that nice, it's 130.6 proof. It's not blowing my nose up. I don't know. I get a nice sweetness, get a little bit of spiciness to it, but it's 80% corn. So you expect it to be obviously very sweet. A little bit of the wood comes through, I think, as well. I don't know. That's about it for me, guys. Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Thank you, Chad.
I get a very nice like creme brulee, toasted sugar, vanilla sweetness on there, like almost a bread pudding, in the sense that like I get the essence of banana, but it's kind of hidden by the fact of the sweet bread and caramel sauce over top of it.
It's not quite like a bananas Foster, but like a bread pudding with a hint of banana.
So you did get that hint of banana, because
Just a hint.
when I said I didn't, I put it back up to my nose and I was like, wait a second.
It's their yeast strain that gives it that banana.
It's the Brown-Forman.
Yeah. But I mean, it's got some heat on the nose. I get some leather, like a good bit of leather, that tannic or oak tannins, good bit of charred oak tannins on the nose, and then it's like when I pull it away, it's almost that cinnamon punch, which is funny that we have a bottle of Willet Purple Top sitting here, because it's very reminiscent of like that cinnamon punch I get from all of the Willet Purple Tops that I've had. You said it reminds you of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I could see that. Their mash bills are only 2% different on corn and rye. But I give this, and I tell people who like Stag Junior, or do you have Stag Junior? I want Stag Junior. My kid's name is Stag Junior. I tell them to try Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof.
Yeah.
Because every time I've given it to someone and told them it's Stag Junior, it blows their mind when they find out it's Jack Daniel's.
I like that trick. I'm going to have to use that.
Matt, what about you, man, nosing it?
I pick up a lot of vanilla right away on it. And then this is kind of a specific note, but I know it well. When I was working at a restaurant, we also had a chestnut tree, or a couple of chestnut trees out back.
Okay.
And we used to, in the fall, pick the chestnuts and roast the chestnuts.
Chestnuts roasting
Not on an open fire, but in a pizza oven.
Close. Very close.
Legit, this smells to me like roasted chestnut.
Okay.
At the end.
Interesting.
It's got like a little bit of honey, a little bit of a lot of that chestnut, which is not so much like a nutty as much as it is like an earthy type nut aroma with it. But I also do pick up some cherry with this as well, and corn, like corn pudding.
Okay. Stace, what about you?
Getting some slight cherry.
Yep.
Throwing it to Christmas. I don't know now if I'm like thinking about Christmas time or what, but
Chestnuts roasting.
also was thinking like it gives me a little bit of like molasses. Like my grandma used to make like these molasses cookies.
Nice.
And it gave me a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But I could also see where Chad was going with the bread pudding. Could get some bread pudding vibes on that.
Yeah, it does almost, there's a little bit of a dessert type of quality sweetness.
I enjoy the nose on this a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
and the color is gorgeous too.
It is. I don't know what the age on this is either. I wish I did. I don't think it says anywhere on here other than government Surgeon General warns you that drinking has to just to your health.
You got to read it like the guy in the commercials.
Beyond that,
Mark can't read, remember?
I can't.
We had to prompt him on this.
Yeah. The good news is it's uniquely crafted, handmade barrels, and it's master distilled.
Good job, Mark. You did it.
Don't know really.
Guys,
what
we had to draw a lot of pictures for him to get
I
that out.
appreciate you all helping me through that.
4 and 7 years on the age is what I found online.
Really? Okay. Well, kind of surprising because it has a nice mature flavor to me. Well, we didn't talk about that yet, did we? What are we going to talk about next? Chad, you had a topic you wanted to broach.
Chad's fired up.
Chad wanted to broach this topic, so let's broach it.
So yeah, just modern day bourbon pricing, and we talked about it in the last round. Fortuna's $87.99. That's what it is at where I work, and at my competitor, our grateful sponsor here on the Bourbon Life Podcast,
I
Liquor
think
Barn.
it was also that price on Sealbox too.
I believe so. But I working in the retail side of the industry, a lot of customers come in. They tell me that's too much for XYZ. I remember back when.
Yeah.
And we have to like that. That's not a thing anymore. And I try to reiterate that. Like, it was hard. It's a hard pill for me to swallow. And like, it was like the end of last year where I don't even remember what. Oh, I do remember the product. It was Blue Run, where I just had to accept this is where we are.
Yeah.
There are very few brands out there who can give you high age or hyper age products at a decent price with like Calumet doing their 14, 15, 16-year-old between $100 for a 14, 120 for a 15, and 140 for a 16.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in, those aren't all exact, but like somewhere in there. Those are great prices. People now complaining, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof's gone up, the retail price Heaven Hill says is still $69.99 or $65.99. That's not true. Because Heaven Hill did a price hike on all their products this year, some of them as much as $20. $90 for a barrel proof 12-year-old bourbon is not crazy.
Yeah.
No.
That's not insane. You know what's insane is paying $50 for a 12-year-old barrel proof bourbon. I'm not advocating that this is good by any means. I just think that people need to understand the new standard. And like I said in the last round, the today's $90 bottle is yesterday's $50 bottle.
Yeah.
And that's just, it sucks, but I mean,
like, look at the prices of everything right now. Everything
Yeah.
is skyrocketed. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like, the bourbon industry is not going to be immune to that at all.
well, no, and especially with these brands figuring out, and we've got, this Willet right here, I don't even know when, because I've never been crazy into all the Willet hype. That there's just a lot going on there. But, this 6-year bottle probably today retails for, what, 175?
Yeah. I don't remember. They were probably 120, 130 or something, I
They
think.
were even less than that.
Or were they?
Yeah,
That was
I want to
two-
say maybe like 95.
Was that like 2
before
years ago,
tax.
though? That
yeah.
was like 2
Yeah,
years
Well,
I was
yeah,
going to
that's
say,
all-
when did you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like today, that's a $200, $175, $200 bottle.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this earlier. We were talking off air, and I had a buddy who told me, he's like, I've had like an 18-year and a 7-year or something. I know the net's killing me. We need to name it because I feel like he's here for a while.
Yeah.
Philip.
Sorry.
It's Philip.
Oh, that's
That's right.
hey.
Hey, Philip, I think I just crushed your skull.
But it's the comment. It's like people who are getting into whiskey today, they just keep hearing and repeating. It's like the telephone effect. Someone said, "Oh, Weller 12 used to be like $13." Well, I'm sure
Yeah.
back in the 40s it was, but it's not that way anymore. You're not going
Yeah.
to find those products. Today's budget bottle isn't $30; it's $50. So that's kind of where, like, it just blows my mind that
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree completely, man. It's just the pricing has gone up. I'm trying to think of what it was I just saw. Was it Henry McKenna?
Oh yeah, that's
It was like $90 or something.
What?
Oh yeah.
well.
Where?
It's so it's $61.99 where I work, and I think it's $65 at Liquor Barn.
$90.
But Heaven Hill did a price hike. They jumped all their prices up. Sure, you're gonna be able to get JTS Brown and that kind of stuff.
Sure, right.
Those are still gonna stay so low because those are about volume. Like they're more worried about selling more of that product, but they can't just put out 200,000 cases of Henry McKenna 10-year.
Right.
It's just not feasible these days to keep up with demand. So prices are going to have to change. Russell's Reserve 13-year last year was $70. This year it's $100 retail by Wild Turkey. That's $30 in 1 year, but no one's going ape shit on Wild Turkey. But once again, it's a 13-year-old bourbon at cask strength for $100. I mean, that's really a good deal.
Yeah. Well, something that like the Knob Creek 18.
Yeah.
What was that? 179.
It's $110 a year.
Yeah, that's
$180.
exactly what I was going to say. $10 a year.
And
Yeah.
that's a good model.
So I'm like, okay, 18-year-old bourbon for that from a reputable. I mean, a company that
Yeah,
they
that's
did
not.
it.
It's not sourced.
Did you enjoy it?
I have not cracked it yet.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay.
He did say no fancy bottles tonight, so
Well,
Yeah,
I've not cracked it. Matt, did you crack?
says
I
the
gave a bottle to
Michter's
Matt for his
toasted.
birthday, actually. So,
I've not cracked mine either.
yeah. So I had another bottle, so I gave it to Matt for his little bird. And speaking of which, it was just Matt's birthday.
I was going to
forgot
say that was
say
pretty
that.
recently. Happy
That's
belated.
right.
Hey,
Yeah.
thanks, everybody.
That's right, man. Matt doesn't like to talk about himself, but we do. So we're going to start the Instagram page. That's Matt's page. that
Matt's
Matt
fan
doesn't-
page.
Matt
Yeah.
doesn't know about it.
Well, he does now.
Oh, that's good.
I
but
still,
he doesn't have Instagram, so he
I
wouldn't
still
know
won't
that.
look at it.
That's right. He doesn't
Okay.
have- no. I agree, Chad. I mean, the pricing it's gone crazy. And, I just really started getting into bourbon probably 2018. So I kind of got in at the very beginning. There were some decent prices. So the things I really enjoyed, like the Heaven Hill or the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, my favorite bottle, $65 a bottle was
Yeah.
great. And now I'm paid $95 a bottle, $99 for a pick, from a store. And I'm like, Jesus, but I'll still pay it, because I absolutely love it. So I think it's kind of a harsh reality. I don't think it's gonna change. I don't think we're gonna go backwards.
No.
So
The nice thing about that, though, is that's a reputable bottle.
yeah,
True.
true.
You know what you're getting. What really gets me and what really chaps my rear end on all this is all these new brands that are coming out with sourced product of 5 to 7 years, probably from a distillery just across the border in Indiana or somewhere similar, that is all coming out at like $75 to $100
or more. 100.
Oh, yeah.
Or
175,
$170
$200.
I was gonna say $175, and
mean,
it's
there's-
got a nice label sitting in the lot case that no one's buying.
Yeah,
That's what
there are
really
brands
gets
out
me.
there.
Where's the business model in that? Because so much of this stuff I would love to try. I would love to try some of these new brands that maybe have that same product, but they're finishing it differently. So they're trying to differentiate. They're not just trying to take the same product everybody else is
Right,
getting, throwing
right.
it in a different bottle, telling you it's at cask strength and putting a story on the back about some, who knows,
Yeah,
Right.
public figure or stream or
Right, right.
great ancestor of
Here's
someone.
the thing with that: how, and you guys can answer this truthfully. How many people, us included, are gonna go and buy $100+ bottle more than once? If I spend $100 on a bottle, I'm gonna fucking nurse that thing.
Yeah,
for-
Yep.
like, especially some of these are coming out 200, like 4-year-old bourbons coming from across the border. I'm gonna nurse that thing for years.
Yeah.
like there's no way I'm gonna just.
Well, and
buy
you
more.
guys have opened me back up too, because when I first got started in my bourbon journey, it was more like, oh yeah, I'll buy that, I'll buy that, I'll buy that. And it's like, no, I got burned way too many times
Yeah.
on that. And
Yep.
I've pulled the reins back, but there's been some bottles that you guys have brought. I'm like, yes, I would absolutely pay $100+ for that.
And I think you're hitting on a big thing here, Stacey, which is that price for me is also okay if I've tried it.
Right.
Yeah,
If I've had
Absolutely.
access to
But-
it's a hard pill to swallow to
Let's go down another rabbit hole, because you brought this up not too long ago about how you went to a restaurant and tried something, and the was it a Boone County was like outrageous for a pour. I think that's what it was. That's what I was going to say is I always recommend people to go to a restaurant or to a bar or something and try it. But even at the bars and restaurants,
Yeah, if you're going out
the
and paying
prices have been
$70 for
so
an ounce
freaking
pour.
ridiculous
Yeah, I
for a single pour of something. So make some friends with people
I was gonna say,
that you can hang out with. I don't know.
People can come over here. No, they can't.
No.
I don't like people.
Mark's
that
got a
much, right?
line at his basement door.
They said we could come over here.
We're here for the podcast. We're here for the bourbon gangbang.
But it's, oh my God. But it's getting more and more difficult, I think, to find, at least for me, to find brands that I trust that I'm willing to spend that kind of money on.
Yep.
If I didn't have you guys in like this, where I can trust you all to like
we're happy to be here for you.
You know,
Yes.
thanks. You guys are like my support group. But
I'll put-
seriously, like,
put
if I,
therapist on my resume.
yeah, there you go. Stacey's
Bourbon therapist,
bourbon
whiskey
therapist.
therapist.
But it's hard to pull the trigger on those bottles that you see out there and
Yeah.
people talking about on Instagram. So my suggestion is, if you're wanting to get into that, maybe
Yeah.
go halvesies or quarters with
Well, that's
some
the thing
friends
too. I think
and buy
yeah, if you
some
can
stuff.
find some people to buy a bottle with, because we,
Yeah.
Chad, we were joking earlier because there was a big Instagram debate that we were involved in and about a Willet product that just came out. $249 for an 8-year-old wheated Willet, and I'm just like, no, I'm not that big of the purple foil bottles. Some of them I really like, but the stuff like the Willet pot still, I don't like it. And I'm not going to go out and pay $250 for an 8-year-old Willet just because it's a Willet product, But I ruffled, and I didn't mean to. It was just my personal opinion is I don't like Willet enough to spend that. But if you like Willet, then spend that money, have at it, buy that bottle, 8 years old, $250. I can find a lot of other whiskey that's 8 years old that I'm going to enjoy a lot more than an 8-year-old Willet. So
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, and I'll get upset and like I'll talk to friends and stuff and I'll be like, I can't believe people are paying XYZ for ABC. But at the end, it's not my money. But if you're dumb enough to overpay for something on secondary because of FOMO, I mean, holy shit, life goes on. There's going to be more bourbon. I mean,
Yeah.
there's going to be a day here in probably the next 10 to 15 years where all these bottles people are stockpiling or paying triple digits for a $20 bottle, $30 bottle, are going to be worthless because it's going to be mass produced on the shelf again. And good. I'm glad you have it now, but most of the people who are complaining about. So let me backtrack a little bit. So the people who are really upset about the fact that you're upset, or you weren't upset, you were just saying your opinion, and I
wasn't.
I stand behind your opinion. Those are the same people who don't necessarily need to worry about
Exactly.
that kind of spending.
yeah, because they have
Right.
Yeah.
So the everyday person should not justify a $250 bottle because it is from that distillery whose name has been made because of stuff they got from sourced barrels.
Yep, I agree.
Where's the roaring crowd? Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Soapbox, get on it.
Well done. Good job.
But that's not a dig at that distillery.
No.
Like
Right.
they've seen the writing on the walls. They've seen people were selling their shit on secondary, and they're like, well, we want to make that money too.
Sure.
So they did. But we're going to get to a point where these distilleries who are doing that, who are marking things up, like Rabbit Hole, love Rabbit Hole, but selling $1,000 15-year-old bourbon, come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
yep.
no
Yep.
freaking way.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there are people out there, and I think you got the whole Scotch industry, which is
That's where we're heading.
sure, exactly right. I mean, but that's what I think bourbon producers realized, that hey, there's a whole industry of Scotch out there. There's single barrels. There's single malts. There's $50,000 bottles of Lalique Cristal that's people are buying, and it's just insane. But I think bourbon producers realize, hey, there's an opportunity to do some things here, and we could.
I mean, can you blame them though? Like if the money is out there to be made, like
No.
you can't really fault them for that. So like, at what point does the secondary market, you know what I mean? Like, how much does that really play into
Yeah.
what?
I think it does. I mean,
I
I
don't
think they like Chad said. I mean, these guys know what people are selling their stuff for on the secondary market. So they're like, okay,
Makes sense. Why should
Sure.
somebody else be making all the profit off it? And it's unfortunate that it exists for that reason. But
yeah.
I mean,
Case in point, Matt, Old Trusty, your favorite 6-year-old Heaven Hill bottled in bond, no longer available. Oh, but it is as a 7-year-old at 3 times the price. 1 year older, same juice, but a year older, and 3 times the price because that was a $15 bottle. And now it's gone up to at least 45, if not more. I don't even know what
It's
it
just
sells for.
absolutely ridiculous.
But, Heaven Hill obviously realized, hey, we're underselling this. This is a product that people are going to be willing to pay a lot more for. They changed the packaging. They added a year to it. And they're right, because you can't find 7-year-old Heaven Hill bottled in bond anywhere when it comes out. It's gone.
I've got a couple bottles if you need one.
So, guys, all right. Chad, I'm in agreement with you on that one.
Yeah, also
so-
same.
Let's jump back to this I was going to say delicious.
This Jack Delicious.
I have a hard time saying delicious and Jack Daniels in the
But
same
you've
sentence
gone in for a second pour. And
I did.
None of us have, so.
because I like it. So let's talk about the palate and the finish. Matt, come back to you, man.
Sure. It's spicy right up front. Got some of the heat, I think, from the 130 proof and a little bit of peppercorn come right up front on the palate. Then the corn on the mash bill really comes through. I get a lot of the grain, a lot of like cornbread, corn pudding, those familiar tastes for me. Then there's some vanilla, a little bit of oak with it as well. And then a spicy finish that kind of creeps from the back right up to the front of the palate.
Yep.
It's good. I think for me, it's a little hot.
Okay.
But I'm certainly not enjoying it.
Stacey, what about you?
I really enjoy this one. I was going to say it drinks lower than a 130.6. Is that what you said? 130.6?
130.6.
I think it drinks a little bit softer than that. Not by a lot, but
It's that charcoal mellow.
it's that charcoal. That charcoal.
It's that Lincoln County process. I'll tell you all about that. I read a book about that.
Oh my gosh. He's just reading all kinds of stuff.
You're on a roll.
Yeah. I'm getting a lot of what Matt had mentioned, like the peppercorn comes through on that for me. It's a little spicy. I really appreciate the finish. I like that it kind of lingers there. Doesn't really give you that strong Kentucky hug, but it has like a nice tingle on the tongue. Get a little bit of cherry and a little bit of like lemon zest.
It's called a Tennessee tickle. FYI.
All right. I like the Tennessee tickle then.
There you go.
All right.
Chad, what about you, man?
Big fan of this, as I stated earlier. Whenever we were talking about the nose, on the palate, there's a little hint of ethanol up front for me, but a good bit of spice, like a strong clove, turns into a nice vanilla tobacco. A lot of oak tannins in there, so it always surprises me that you would like something like this because I feel like it is a little drying. It does make you salivate a little bit and need some water, but I really like it. It's got a very heavy black pepper and butterscotch note. It's not crazy deep as far as notes go. Like the depth on it's kind of short, but everything it does well. And I also don't feel like it hits 130 proof, but it has a nice long finish, and the Tennessee tickle hits you right here.
Yeah, man.
tickle.
And you know, I pick up a little bit of that banana, kind of on the finish on this. It just a lingering little.
Can I ask, is it like an artificial banana, like a banana runt, or are you getting like banana like in a dessert?
Like a banana dessert,
Okay.
and it blends in with that kind of a little bit of a brown sugary kind of flavor that I still pick up as well. I do get the pepper, as well, that spiciness. But yes, this is the only Jack Daniels that I will drink, and I'll stand by.
I'm going to bring you, I have a
That's-
375 of the Tennessee Taster Barrel Proof Rye.
Okay.
Oh, I went in on
Okay.
that.
Well, I
Please.
was just talking to Jack Daniel, the Tennessee whiskey. I will take the rye, I'm sure. But I'm just talking
Yeah, I
about
went
their
in on that bad.
Yeah.
their quotations Tennessee whiskey / bourbon.
So are you going to send a formal apology to Jack Daniel?
No, I will not,
Okay.
because this is the only expression that I will drink. But I
For
do
now.
really like it. I mean, and Chad, when I walked in the store just like 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and I saw that, it was like, wait a second, you've got like 6-8 bottles sitting on the shelf, and you even had, I think, the little 375s as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, because I picked up one of each, and then I was like, no, I'm not gonna buy it. But I was like, that little bottle's so cute because it looks just like the big
Same
one.
thing with Shrunken. It's
It's-
crazy to me. It's the people who come from out of state, from Kentucky, who are like, I can't find Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof anywhere. And for several months, we couldn't either. It was actually allocated for a while. We weren't getting it allocated to us. But now that it's back, I could put 6 bottles on the shelf and it could last a month.
Really?
When you told me that, I was like, that's crazy because, and I don't like Jack Daniels, but I would drink this. This could be like the Elijah Craig Stag Jr. I would put this in a 3-bottle rotation and drink this with
I think we should do that
Ooh, a blind?
next time.
a blind of Stag
A blind
and Elijah
of,
Craig.
of Stag. We'll do single barrels though, because that's a single barrel.
I was
So-
gonna say, yeah, I'll pick a single barrel.
and I was going to say, I'll bring the one Stag Junior single barrel that I've got. Or no, you got one.
Huh?
You got one. We can bust
Got a
yours.
stag single barrel?
I had one.
Oh.
Oh.
Would you also mix in an Old Forester single barrel?
We can mix one of those in.
Ooh, I think that would be fun.
I think we just
can do that.
We can. I was gonna say we spread it over 3 rounds. We do it, and we see what comes out on top.
I think that's a great idea.
I think it'd be,
Because
Yeah.
Philip be here next time, won't he?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
It's
that'll.
going to be our Thanksgiving spectacular.
Holiday
yeah, so-
extravaganza.
No,
got
that's
it.
going to be the end of the.
Oh,
that's-
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Christmas is the
So-
holiday extravaganza.
That's
Don't
okay.
get them
Oh, I'm
confused.
sorry.
That's when we get the red jacket.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay. So I got to wait another. So I've got
Another
2
month.
episodes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to wait till December for that.
I mean, we are getting close to November.
We are. We're very close. It's crazy how fast this is flying by. All right, guys. So let me ask you, what do you think? The single barrel Jack Daniels,
Oh, this is a fixture.
fixture.
Matt.
You know, I'm fenced on this one, but
It's okay.
Is it because of the proof point on it?
it does drink a little hot for me, but I'm actually going to say fixture. At 70, 75 bucks.
Now think about your friends or family come over and you'd be like, hey, you know what? It's Jack Daniels. If they're like me, they're like, what?
And I'm the same way. I think I've had Jack Daniels maybe 2 times in my life ever.
Yeah.
And neither of them were an experience that I care to or probably can
You just
remember.
pour that into
So-
an empty Stag Junior bottle, and
Yeah.
they'll never know.
No.
Yeah,
Nobody will know.
Yeah.
like Chad, I think you're hitting it right on. I think a lot of minds could be turned around drinking that blind.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I think
Heck yeah, this
I'll
gonna be
give this
great.
one a fixture.
I'm just going to go on the record and say I'm not trying to convert anybody to drinking Tennessee whiskey,
No, but this is really good,
but this is
and people need to give it a
I've been
shot.
preaching this for years, man.
when those guys in Tennessee, when Mike Hines and those guys popped that bottle and they're like, here, try this. And I was like, no. And they insisted. I was like, I mean, it just blew my mind. And I've not been able to find a bottle. You know, I look for it when I go out. And it's not like I've been trying to track it down.
Right.
But when I walked in Total Wine, I was like, holy shit, you got a whole shelf full.
You know who else has had some recently? Kroger.
Have they really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd buy it. I mean, honestly, I would keep this because I love, barrel proof. Elijah Craig's my favorite. Stag Junior is right behind it. And I would easily put this in a mix, switch those 3 out on a regular basis because it is that good.
It's solid.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Final thoughts because we kind of ran over. So, final thoughts before we wrap it up.
Add this to your rotation, especially if it's going to become a little bit more available. I think the hype's kind of, I don't want to say worn off, but
Yeah.
I feel like people aren't like trying to get out there and grab it as
No.
readily.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's definitely not like a flippable bottle anymore.
Yeah. Nobody's.
I feel like at one point it was, but I think we had an issue with that back in 21 where people were like, "Oh my god, I can get like 70." It used to go for $60. People were like, I can get 75 for it. But no, I love it. So I'm
Yep.
glad we had it.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah,
You're good.
My eyes have been open to it.
There you go, man. I'm glad I could do that for you, Matt.
Beautiful.
Appreciate
All
that.
right. So overall, final thoughts before we wrap up the whole show.
Can't wait to see everybody on the Thanksgiving episode.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. Hashtag blessed, thankful.
Yeah.
Don't forget to spay and neuter your pets.
Hashtag Chad, don't eat dinner before this episode because I'm cooking
Matt's
for
cooking.
everybody.
Matt's cooking
Oh.
again.
You'll have to remind
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, because like I had pizza before I came over here tonight, and I was like, "Was this the episode I'm not supposed to eat at?"
No, next episode.
Thanksgiving. Okay.
Next,
and then-
next one.
But now for Christmas, are you bringing your delicious nuts again, Matt, that everybody can enjoy?
I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, okay.
I hope so. Because
I'm
we
nervous.
Matt made,
My girlfriend loves Matt's nuts.
yeah, I did. My wife loved your nuts. They were delicious.
My
she
nuts
said.
are popular.
Well, they were. So I'm hoping for Christmas that we
They
get
were.
the-
Are you saying they aren't anymore?
I'm just saying for
It's
Christmas,
been a year.
it has been.
Yeah,
Things
they,
can change.
Yeah, they get
Yeah.
pretty stale after a year.
After a year, they get, yeah, they kind of dry out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need a new batch of my nuts.
I hope so. I'm hoping that we can enjoy your tasty nuts for Christmas, our Christmas extravaganza. Our holiday extravaganza. So
Well, I'm going to have to find a holiday outfit now.
you will, because I'm wearing the red jacket. I'm just going to tell you.
I'll just dress up as Santa.
There you go. We're going to live stream the whole thing. No, I'm
my-
just kidding. We're not going to do that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That sounds dangerous.
All right, kids, let's wrap it up. Send it home. But I got to thank all of
Tennessee
our,
Tickle, guys. Go for it.
I do have to thank our sponsors. I forgot to say, we are the Bourbon Life Podcast presented by James E. Pepper Distillery. They're our new presenting sponsor, so we appreciate that. Thank them for their sponsorship. We also thank all of our other sponsors. everything they do for us. We appreciate all of you, our listeners. Thank you guys for tuning in every week, or as often as you choose to do, or can stand to do, I should say, probably. But if you have any suggestions, comments, whatever, please feel free to send us a message on Instagram, Facebook. You can email us at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. Leave us a review on your favorite podcasting platform. And with that said, I'm going to wrap it up. Send us home with our tagline, which is, may your glasses always be full, and may you keep on living the bourbon life.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. Our mission at the Bourbon Life is simple: to share our passion for all things bourbon with you every week. And we'd really love to hear your thoughts on how we're doing. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at The Bourbon Life. You can also contact us by email at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. And you can always find us on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a moment, we'd love it if you would rate us and give us a review. So until next week, we hope your glass is always full and that you keep on living the bourbon life.